Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever the hell you are on this wonderful planet that we all occupy. I am Chris, also known as the Atheist Pastor. Welcome to Conspiracies on, it could be on Hereticals, could be on the Atheist Secular Network, could be on Facebook, wherever you're watching it. We're streaming to about 1 million different places tonight. So first thing I'm going to do is one of my good friends who's in the chat, Dave, Critical Cripple, I just want to wish you a very happy birthday, mate. Happy 21st, mate, and many good returns. So everyone who's in the chat, do me a favour, just throw a quick happy birthday at Critical Cripple. And look, if you're watching this in the future, just leave a happy birthday in the comments because I'm sure he'll come back and look at it many, many times over. Now, if you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, or if you're Darth Dawkins or a troll, give us the thumbs down. It's all interaction, so it's all good. I don't mind. So anyway, tonight we are looking at the JFK assassination. We're going to see how our conspiracy theorist Bobby Mack and our conspiracy debunker Jay look at it and tackle. So that being said, I'm going to bring them in.
Figure out how it goes.
Otherwise, what would have happened was we would have had your head on Bobby Mack's body and the halo going around Bobby Mack, and I don't know. It's
that's usually around my ankles, the halo.
Yeah. So for those who missed Friday Night Six Pack and anything else this week, you'll notice that this is not actually Jay. What we've done is we've actually got his twin from an alternate universe. This is the evil version of Jay. So you'll notice the difference, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. Good.
How's the how you liking the lack of beard?
Your face cold?
I like it. What was that, Bobby?
Have you noticed how cold your face gets now?
No, I'm not really. Because
it's the middle of summer over there.
The way my beard grows, it just grows down like this. I like the cheeks are always bare and the neck's bare, so I just got like this. My beard's actually only right here, so it really wasn't that much of a difference. And I tell you what, though, because I wear a balaclava at work, they come up like this and it my neck's not as hot. Because I don't have the beard pushing on the neck and then that over top of it, but that's about it.
I thought you meant you were wearing a baklava like the delicious Lebanese sweet that you get. I thought you were wearing one of those around your neck.
No, I always mix it up, the baklava and balaclava.
And for those who don't know, the reason that Jay wears a balaclava is because he's a professional bank robber.
Yeah.
And very good at it. And very
good. I won't tell you which banks, but
Oh, just
if there's a bank that's been robbed, it was probably Jay. So
probably, but I am sporting the Tom Selleck mustache though.
No, mate, it's the Jake the Snake.
Yeah, Jake the Snake.
I'm still thinking Jake the Snake. Can't avoid that.
The hair. If the hair wasn't long, it'd be the Tom Selleck, but because of the long hair, it's Jake the Snake.
No, if the hair wasn't long, I'd put Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Mack, what's going on in your world, mate? How you been?
Well, I've been all right, mate. I've been pretty quiet, not really doing that much, to be honest. Just been working and just trying to chill out and I've got a couple of birthdays coming up soon. I've got my youngest to turn 6 next week, or this week coming, and then my eldest turns 13. So I've got a couple of birthdays coming up that I've got to try.
We got the double birthday coming up, don't we?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's my son and Bobby's daughter were born within about 2 days of each other at the same hospital. So that was good. It might have been wanted to get a beer every now and then while the girls were in hospital.
Yeah, my youngest boy and my oldest nephew, they're 36 and a half hours apart.
Right.
We went to visit my sister, and my ex-wife went into labor.
Oh dear. Good comment here. Grumpy Old Dude's made a bit of a comment. Porn stash. Now, if you want to see Jay on Pornhub, just put a 1 in the chat or a 2 for no. We'll see what happens.
Hey, right amount of money.
Oh, there we go. All right, so we're going to get a go.
That's why they could call you. That's why you could be called Jake the Trouser Snake.
Yeah, here you go.
All right, so gentlemen,
even Raven says one.
And she's seen it live.
See, Dave's saying yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, see, Dave's not sure. It's could be a good birthday treat for you, mate.
Hey, I hear Dave got a new ball.
Oh yes. For those who don't know, there was an explosion the other day. Dave,
ball explosion.
Yes, and not the bad one.
Okay.
Dave sits on one of those bouncy balls, and whilst on stream on the bouncy ball,
it popped.
Oh wow, jeez!
And you just watch his head go.
and there was much hilarity ensued. So it's always good. So today we're talking about, or more to the point, you two are going to be talking about JFK and the assassinations. So looking at the conspiracies, looking at the non-conspiracy, who did it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop out now, and I'm going to let you two take it away. So enjoy.
Yeah, here we are, Jay. We're on the grassy knoll.
Yeah, the grassy knoll.
We're in 1963. I actually started with a short I started watching before we go into it on Stan called 11/22/63. It's got James Franco, and they've got that.
Oh, I've seen that. That was really good.
Yeah, okay. I know I haven't read the book of it, but I started watching first episode yesterday, and
it's really good.
Yeah, okay. Well, it seems quite interesting. But no, I was thinking this could possibly be one of the first conspiracies that we sort of might possibly agree on that it was a conspiracy.
Depending on which ones you consider are conspiracies and which ones, because
I know, because there seems to be a lot of them.
I was just double checking going through before we started, and I was looking at them all, going, "Yep, I remember that one. Yeah, that one was bullshit. Yep, that one was wrong."
I know. Do you know the only one I just fucking realised I meant to look into the babushka lady? I meant to look into that, and I completely forgot, and I only just remembered now. I was like, I forgot to look into
it. As far as I know, they still don't know who she is.
Right. Okay.
Or any. They don't know anything about her. It's the one person they couldn't find, from what I understand. They just have no idea who she was. She's never came forward. Nobody's ever come forward saying, "Hey, this was my mom or my grandma or something." No, it's just she.
Just boom.
Yeah, but that's as far as I know.
She Kaiser Soze.
Yeah, she Kaiser Soze it up. So, all right, let me ask you the first question though. Do you believe Oswald is the one that shot the president?
No, I believe he might have been one of the guys taking the shots, because I think from looking into it, there was quite a lot of shooters there at the same time. So I believe he could have been one of the shooters, but not the one that made the kill shot. Okay,
why?
I just think that he seemed to be more of a patsy in it than anything else, in my opinion. I think that he'd had a lot of connections with the CIA. He had a lot of Russian connections, so he seemed like he was somebody that would easily be able to put the fall onto when it came to it.
It's been documented forensically quite a few times that the type of marksman Oswald was, where he was at, and the shots fired, he himself easily could have made those shots.
So how many shots do you think there was, though, in what time frame?
There was 3 shots in 5.6 seconds. In the rifle he used, and the type of marksman he was, from what was recorded from the Marines, he could have easily made those 3 shots in that time frame.
And where did the 3 bullets go?
One missed the car altogether. The second one struck him in Kennedy in the neck, and the third one in the back of the head.
What about Connolly? What happened taking the hit because he got shot as well? So that's the magic bullet.
No, yeah, you're talking magic bullet theory. I just watched. If I can remember to bring it up, I will. If I can find it here. I just watched a video on that. There was a father and son forensic analysis. They did a forensic analysis on it, and they said yes, the bullet that struck Connolly easily could have been the one. Well, I didn't say easily. Is definitely the same bullet that struck the president. And I'll hang on a second, and I'll put this in the side chat, and paste it there, and I'll put it in the live chat too, because they said the way the bullet tumbles after it hits, because the way it has to tumble,
it breaks into fragments or something.
Yeah, and so when it comes through, hit him in the Kennedy in the neck, just on the right side. It come through down, come out the front, struck Connolly just into the ribs, under the armpit, came out here, come down through, hit him in the wrist and into the leg. And the wound track is from a bullet that's going to be tumbling after it strikes something, because they start to tumble. And that's, like I said, the video not available in my country, in Chris's country. Crap. Well, crap, I can't help you on that one.
That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, forensically, they did wish it would have, but they said it definitely would have been the same bullet that struck Kennedy in the neck, would have been the same one that hit Connolly.
Yeah, because I was watching an interview with Connolly and his wife, Larry King, I think they were, and they were saying themselves, like, there was 4 shots, and there couldn't have, the same one that hit JFK couldn't have hit Connolly. It would have been a separate bullet. If you look at the wound, there's a lot of conflicting arguments, conversations with JFK, because it's been going on for so long and it's been covered up, and
it's known as the mother of all conspiracies.
That's where the name came from in the Warren Commission. That's where the term was coined after that, was put in there. So, which we can get to. We'll get the Warren Commission was just a shambles of value, even the people that were on that. But yeah, no, there was Dave put critical put up an army shoot with when you look at there was a big mafia involvement with this as well, because going back to the father, Joe Kennedy, or bootlegger Joe, he used to make money during the Prohibition and stuff like that. He had some quite shady friends, as they do, and he was involved. He had ties with the mafia. At one point, I think the Jewish mafia were trying to kill him, and he went to one of the mafia, Giancano, one of the mafia bosses, to get it sorted out. So, in regards to a lot of the shooters, there was a lot of mafia, because some of the things that I'd seen, there was possibly up to 8 shooters set up at different spots. Even Woody Harrelson's dad was one, which was quite strange.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, They believe there were multiple shooters in the area, but only Oswald made the kill shot. They were set up in case Oswald couldn't make the kill shot. They were to take the president out. One way or the other, he was dying that day.
Oh, of course, yes, yeah. Of course. He had to die that day regardless, and that's why there were so many shooters set up.
They believe there was that, but there's no proof. They don't have any definitive proof that it was there, but I do believe that Oswald took the kill shots, but he was not working alone. There was definitely something else behind it. Whether it be the mafia, whether it be the Cubans, the CIA, something behind it. I do believe that there was more to the story than just a crazy
lone gunman.
Yeah, lone gunman.
But that was what the Warren Commission set out to put across, that it came up with these ideas. There was so much work that went into it, but again, a lot of the people that were involved in it were had quite shady backgrounds and stuff. I mean, even going back to they're all involved in the CFR and Trilateral and all that sort of thing. So they've got George Bush's dad, George H.W. Bush. He was there. There was a lot of a big connection to a lot of people that wanted him dead. But I think with the shooter, with the Warren Commission, they wanted just to basically set out to come up with the lone gunman and the single bullet theory, the magic bullet theory. Mm-hmm. But then they also found a bullet casing. Somebody had placed it on a bed, like a completely made bullet next to the bed, and that's what they took, and they used that as one of the bullets. It would have impacted. I think when Connolly, there was also you can see. So also doctors have said the shot in the throat actually came through the front windscreen and hit him in the front. And then you've got the kill shot, which happens. From the angle that Oswald would have been at, it wouldn't have got him in that region of his head. If you look at the shot, it's pretty much, so he's going there and it hits what you would think would be just above the ear.
Nope.
Because that's the way his head goes. His head would go forward.
It hits right here. As it comes in, because his head is slightly turned, so it hits right here, and that's where it explodes this way, and he falls to the side. Because it hits just behind his right ear, just round right back here. That's where it hits, and that's why it explodes out the right side like this.
Yeah.
So the shots from the depository building to the way that his body actually moved and hit, that is they have forensically determined on multiple different places that those were exactly where the shots were set up.
Again, I've seen them, but I've also seen stuff saying the opposite as well, saying it couldn't have been made from there. So it's hard. There's also there's two unusual theories, both connecting the Secret Service driver, what was his name? Greer, William Greer. Okay. Now in the Zapruder film, it's doctored. There's a few frames taken out. I think they said it was 8 or 10 frames have been taken out. Okay. Now, when the explanation for what I'd sort of seen myself had been that he'd actually slowed down for them because he'd realised he'd heard the shots going off, but had turned round, seen that he wasn't dead yet, so slowed the car down to a stop to even make that shot, which could have been made. This is a theory that could have been made from this guy called Jack Lawrence, who was hiding. There was a sewer. He was hiding from the sewer. He was hiding in the sewer. Sorry, there was two guys hiding in the sewer.
I hadn't heard that one. I just watched the Zapruder film just before we came on, and I don't see where there was any missing frames. I don't see any.
You're not. It's hard to do, but I've read a lot of information saying that there was frames missing from the film.
Yeah, because the infamous shot is frame 313. That's the one where the side of his head, right here, just kind of explodes.
So if you try and go through every single frame, I don't think they're numbered. You can't number them. There are going to be some that are actually taken out for some reason. But they also have a theory that ties in with Greer, is that he was the one that shot him.
Mm-hmm. No, it looks like Chris found the Zapruder film. Now, here's another thing. Before you hit, hang on, Chris, push pause. The one thing that I don't understand, and one of the things that I seen in the conspiracy theory was Zapruder is positioned in the. If you were filming this in a movie, this would have been the perfect spot for him to be at.
Maybe that's what he was filming. They wanted to film it because this is the only film that's made from it.
Yeah, because he is right there at the exact. I mean, when the car comes by, we'll see it here in a minute. When the car comes by, he is dead straight on that shot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah. I said there are some stuff with this that just don't make any sense, but I still believe Oswald was he was the only one making the shots there. But like I said, there were probably other people stationed around just in case Oswald missed.
Well, I'd heard that there was eight shooters and 16 shots had been fired altogether, but there was silencers could have been used and all that as well. So
Yeah, see, I only heard of the three. The fourth one they thought was a shot, but it was actually something else. That's what I had heard. But I knew
yeah,
there was at least 3 shots because he missed
a
the
lot of
first one, hit the second two.
Well, he hit a curb and hit a guy called James Teague or Teague or something like that. His name was hit the concrete, and then he got hit in the face. And there was another one that hit the car. There's a few out there, but yeah, that's what I'd heard on a fucking really good explanation of it. You know what I mean? It put all the pieces, put a lot of pieces together that tied a lot of people in. So it was quite interesting.
Yeah, this is the film I just watched. If you look up there on the right hand side, it's got a frame counter.
Yes.
So we can check and see if there's frames missing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Yeah, there was. It does actually. The numbers seem to jump a little bit. Okay, so it's hard to go one by one.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, because there's literally only, I think it's 8 frames. But it's funny that it's pinpointing that woman that's got that white thing next to her, because I think she's the only one. Have you seen the Polaroid that she got of that moment?
No, I hadn't. As far as I knew, I thought this was the only
still alive.
I thought this was the only.
No, there's a black and white Polaroid out there as well. Yeah, and it's the only one supposedly of the actual shot, the actual impact. But what it looks like is where those frames are missing is where Greer seemed to slow down the car to get that, because maybe he knew that where the positioning of that. Another interesting thing, actually, I wrote down. So, what was the guy's name? Okay. No. I wrote that. Okay, so there was a Secret Service agent called Henry J. Rickba. Now he was on the right side of.
Say, wasn't he on the right side?
Aye, he was on the right side where JFK got hit. Mm-hmm. So he was positioning right where that shot was. But there's footage of the motorcade going round and him getting called off, and he's like, "What?" Like shaking his head, like, "What do you mean?" Like, and then the motorcade carries on, and he was told by the Secret Service agents to do that, to stand down off his position. So I'd never seen that footage until the other day.
No, I don't.
What I mean? So yeah,
I don't think I've seen that footage.
Yeah,
and I know I've heard about it, but I don't remember.
Yeah, Henry J. Rickbar is his name. I don't know how to spell Rickbar, but yeah, that was. So I mean, there was so many people involved, but there was. But I mean, what do you think is the conspiracy then? Like, what's your take on it?
Well, I think he pissed too many people off. I mean, he himself admits that he thinks he got his brother killed. You know, this was before he was assassinated. He believed that his actions is what got his brother killed, and then his actions itself I believe, is what got himself killed. Because you got to remember the time frame. You know, was it 63?
Yeah.
And you know, so we're looking at going into Nam, and you know, we're dealing with Castro, and yeah, you know, we're dealing with Russia and everything. So
did you know the CIA
in the 60s the mafia was pretty well established all the way around, and, you know, and doing
very
things
much
like that and pissing the mafia off. And
but the CIA actually had Sam Giancarlo and John Roselli to kill Castro. They'd actually paid them guys to sort out killing Castro by poisoning him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And these two people aren't supposed to be working together in bed together, but yet here they are. They're plotting to kill a leader that's getting in the way, insert JFK a few years later. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I said I don't know what, you know, obviously I don't think we'll ever know what the cause was for it, but I do think it was more than just Lee Harvey Oswald being a nut job.
Well, I mean, you had you can look at the LBJ aspect of it. Did he want him killed? I don't think he really.
I don't think LBJ was
involved. I don't think. I think he knew it was going to happen, but I don't think he did anything really to stop it.
I don't think LBJ was involved at all. I think I think he was one of the few that it came as a complete shock to.
What about oh no, what was I going to say about that? Yeah, but he's obviously going to say that as well. So he's got obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, I said all these guys are all in bed together one way or another. They've got their hands in each other's pockets. You know what I mean? So they do favors for this. You know what I mean? You've got to look at. There was a lot of Texas rich oil billionaires then as well. You remember Dallas and fucking those days? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you ever get that television show Dynasty in Dallas over there? No, they were quality. They were fucking quality shows. So you had there was a lot of people that what JFK was looking into could have ruined a lot of people and brought a lot of people down. But there is also, funnily, Chris put that in the chat, there is actually an alien connection involved in it as well, because he was wanting to release some files.
Yep. He wanted to, if I'm trying to remember it, let's see if I remember this right. He wanted to release the Roswell files early, and was something about wanted to talk about. There's something else.
That with Eisenhower had supposedly Eisenhower actually supposedly had a meeting with aliens on February the 20th, 1954.
Yeah.
And a treaty was signed between the alien nation and the United States of America was signed. And they had a hostage who had been left at the first landing in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So this.
Yeah, that was. They said that was part of the. That was part of the Roswell files that he wanted to release.
Yes, EB. Have you heard of what was it called? EBE was an extraterrestrial biological entity.
Oh, Ebby.
Ebby, yes, EBE, yeah, Ebby, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't remember. The name's familiar, but I don't remember right offhand.
Yeah, because that was that was in the 50s. But so yeah, I mean, JFK was coming out and wanting to say he was saying a lot of stuff about secret societies and Federal Reserve banks and aliens and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I don't think people sort of wanted him to sort of go on any further. You know what I mean? So, but what about the possibility then with Bobby Kennedy being killed by Sirhan that they were Oswald and Sirhan were MK Ultra'd? I
don't know anything about Bobby's assassination or Sirhan. I don't know anything about that assassination.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but I just know like he didn't. He seemed completely like out of it. Didn't know what had happened. Didn't really seem to be taking responsibility for it. It was just like a bit of a shock. You know what I mean? It's like Zoolander. You know what I mean? You have to kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia. You know what I mean? Maybe it was something like that. You know what I mean? So a bit of fucking Frankie Goes to Hollywood came on, and Sirhan comes out.
If you want, you're talking about MK Ultra. If you wanted to actually read the actual CIA unredacted files on MK Ultra,
it's not a conspiracy. MK Ultra.
No, it's not.
Actually probably true. Yeah.
There's a website called the Black Vault, and they have all of
the CIA
unredacted due to it's the Freedom of Information Act, because the statute of limitations ran out on the MK Ultra. So the Black Vaults spent the money twice to get the files, because the first time they got the files, it was missing like 500 pages and a lot of it was redacted. And they were like, no.
We want to see all of it.
The original contract said it would be all the files unredacted. So they ended up having to send him all the files unredacted, and he's got it all up on his website. It's called the Black Vault.
Yeah,
so you can actually go through and read it. And according to the CIA files, MK Ultra was a failure. That's why it was shut down.
Yes, but they're going to say that because I think too much pressure was getting brought onto them, because what was going on was more people were starting to notice it and pick up on it. And I think that's why they sort of said that they shut it down. It can still go on today.
Here's the thing. MK Ultra was a failure. Operation Monarch wasn't a failure. And there's a difference, because that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that a lot of people will correlate Project Monarch as MK Ultra. Those were two different projects going about the same thing. Using
they were probably still just using different names.
Yeah, they were different names, but a lot of the conspiracy theorists will say, "Oh, look, there's a butterfly or there's a moth. That's MK Ultra." No, that was Project Monarch. That was a completely different project, but it was doing the same thing MK Ultra was, and that's where a lot of the conspiracy theorists, if they'd actually do some research, other than watching YouTube videos, they would understand that Monarch and Ultra were two different programs going after the same
butterfly.
results.
I don't know about what's the butterfly with MK Ultra. I can understand it with Monarch, but is it used in MK Ultra, the butterfly?
No, because they don't realize the difference between a butterfly and a moth.
Yeah.
So they go, oh, look, it's a butterfly or it's a moth, so therefore MK Ultra. No, it was a completely different program, but it was going for the same results MK Ultra was.
I reckon it was still it would have more than likely just got sidetracked and just sort of made a little bit more. Right, we just won't really.
Yeah, it was more. It was more defined. Project Monarch was a little more defined than MK Ultra was. MK Ultra was just a kind of like let's throw the net out there and see what we catch. Where Monarch was, we're going to use a fishing rod.
Yeah,
if you want to use that kind of analogy.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because they were probably getting a little bit more picky with who they wanted to choose.
Yeah,
at the start of it, it was a lot of testing and stuff like that. So nowadays, if it's still going on, or when Monarch's being used, then they're going to be picking specific
as
people.
Far as saying Oswald with MK Ultra, I don't think so. That's not in what MK Ultra was designed and used for. Manipulated, absolutely. I think he was absolutely manipulated into doing what it was, fed false information, things like that, because of his background and his mental instabilities and back and forth, because he'd been to Russia a couple times. I think they used that in his mental instability and twisted and manipulated facts to get him to do what he did.
That's why I think he was a good patsy, you know what I mean? So because he had all these sort of grey areas for them to focus on and to sort of pick on. And I think that's what they've done, you know what I mean? So
you mentioned before we went on air 11/22/33, which is the Stephen King book that was made into the miniseries. It's fiction because obviously the guy goes back in time. But he uses a lot of the truths and the conspiracy theories in that book, in that show, to kind of explain what happened. So you'll actually it's a work of fiction, but there's a lot of truth, especially revolving around Oswald and how he got to where he was up in the book depository, because a lot of that flows with the facts that they know about.
Do you think he would have taken the bullets? They found the bullet casings up there, didn't they? Just sitting there.
They found his They had his rifle too.
Yeah, so I don't know why he I just don't see him being the one that took the actual kill shot. I can't see it from. I said I forgot to mention that at the Bruder film because we were looking at the bloody the killer, the positioning of his head when it moves. It doesn't look like, you would think if he gets hit from the back, he's going to have that jarring motion forward, but his positioning of his head, he's not looking towards the shot. He's still looking sort of fairly straight.
Well,
and then it's like it hits him. It's like the impact. But then, so have you heard the body switch?
No.
Theory? No.
No,
okay.
I haven't.
So this is quite an interesting one, right? This has got some sort of validation behind it. Okay, so the guy JD Tippett, the copper that was shot, the police officer the police officer that was killed as well. It was JFK and the police officer was killed by Oswald. Okay. So supposedly this police officer was taken basically to use as a body double instead of JFK because they would have seen too many bullet wounds. And when the guy, it was some radio host guy that had shot this officer, and had shot him, was supposed to shoot him in the back of the head, but ended up shooting him 3 times. And that's why they wanted to use this police officer who was shot, they wanted to use his body and swap them over. Now, they put them in 2 different aeroplanes. They put the empty coffin in Air Force One, and they put the 2 bodies in Air Force Two, and that flew behind while this guy Leggett, who was this like used to do like the reconstructions on bodies and stuff like that, facial reconstructions and stuff. He actually had to perform a surgery basically to make this guy look like JFK. They had to basically he had to do surgery on him. He had to pin back his brain. Now, if you look at the autopsy photos and you look at a picture of this guy, it's quite strange in the way that the brain's all fallen out and the way that the impact was. It shouldn't have. There should be more damage to the side of his face where there's not. It's just from the back. So it looks like the back of his head has been blown out.
So here's the thing with that one. The now, mind you, this is coming off the Warren report. Do you
really trust that though? And
I do trust the Warren report.
Doesn't really end well.
Let me explain why I trust the Warren report, because the Warren report does take into consideration and does explain different things, as in, like you were saying, multiple shooters. They are taken into, they even state in the Warren report that they had to go off of the deposition of the doctors that were doing the autopsy, because none of the photos and x-rays were released even to the Warren Commission. They were destroyed. So because they destroyed the photos and the x-rays before the Warren Commission could get a hold of them.
But you know what it happened? It was a very quick turnaround between JFK, Oswald being arrested, Oswald killed, Warren Commission. It was a very quick turnaround. So they would have had that information. They should have been able to have access. Does that not make you think it's a bit suspicious that the evidence got destroyed?
And that's part of what the Warren Commission actually states in the thing, that it's a little suspicious, but we can only go off of what is given to us.
Right, because the guys that wrote the Warren Commission were the guys that made sure the X-rays disappeared. You look at the people that were on the Warren Commission were...
The x-rays and the photos were destroyed before the Warren Commission got a hold of what was going on. That's why they had to go with the deposition. So
but that was the thing. That was perfect evidence to have there.
Any photos or x-rays claiming that these are from JFK's autopsy are more than likely they're not real. Just like
it's one of his face. It's like the face. It's like the famous JFK autopsy photo. You know what I mean? So, and his brains are all like splattered out. Yeah. But with the way they shot. The way the shot happened isn't how it looks in his body. Even when Bobby and Jackie seen his body, Bobby supposedly laughed and says, it doesn't even look like him, or they couldn't even make it look like him or something. And Jackie freaked out and saying, that's not my Jack, that's not my Jack. Because they could tell something had gone wrong. Like they touched his head and his brain had his skull was just fallen apart, and his face all looked like it had, doctors had actually said it looked like he had surgery prior to getting the autopsy done.
Yeah, I see. I have to admit, JFK I was fascinated years ago, but I actually was reminded we were doing this last night, and I'm like, shit, that's tonight.
Yeah, because we were supposed to do it last week, but you were sick, and I ended up being sick anyway myself, so that worked out quite well. So. Yeah,
so if like I said, I completely, because I wanted to look into some more different things. Obviously, I wouldn't have looked into it as much as you do, because you got names and shit that I would never had.
No, I've basically pretty much just done some research over the last I do within the last week or so, I sort of make notes because I forget about a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? So I've got to write stuff down. So, but I mean, Where was I going to go? Yeah, so I mean, you've got to look at. Hang on, where do I have it over here? Yeah, they wanted. Yeah, because they wanted basically. Well, they wanted to try and. I think they wanted to keep. That's why they did the body switch, because they wanted to try and keep this. And that was the thing as well with this guy that supposedly did this operation. He got home and his wife. There's an interview with his wife, and she said he got home and he was like visibly shaking, and she didn't know where he'd been. And he basically said to her and his stepdaughter, like, we need to get out of here. We need to leave now. And they were asking him, why do we just need to go? We just need to go. And they got in the car and drove away. And then he's seen Oswald being shot by Ruby. And then his wife said that he sort of looked at her and he said his demeanor changed and said, and sort of like went, right, we can go home now. You know what I mean? So, and it was sort of, she was wondering why was that, you know what I mean? So, and maybe that was because he knew what he had done during that, but because that airplane actually had to overtake Air Force One. Air Force Two had to, it was like a slingshot maneuver or something like that it was called. It had to get there, and it got there like 30 minutes early, and then they had to do the switch. And then this guy had seen the body getting taken in to the Air Force One on this big normal coffin, and then he's seen this body that was supposed to be JFK in like this just weird random military fucking box, like didn't really look anything that fancy. So yeah, it's just weird because you think of
with the box. You know, if you want to look at the box, yeah, there. Even though he would have been the president, the box, the casket box wouldn't have been all elaborate at all. It wouldn't have been until after, you know, he was going to be laid to rest would he have been put into something more than just like basically a pine box. And that's from personal experience, seeing bodies, you know, of soldiers and whatnot coming off of planes, being brought home and stuff like that. It'd have been the same thing there. But yeah, he wouldn't have been in anything spectacular until he was ready to be buried.
Sort of going off a little bit, Tom, there, you seeing air bodies coming back. Have you heard about that was how drugs were used to transport?
Oh yeah,
the dead body, which is fucking horrible, man. You know what I mean? So that was the CIA that were involved in that. You know what I mean?
That was for so long. That was one of those conspiracy theories that, you know, the CIA was running drugs over in Afghanistan. Oh, look, lo and behold, yeah, it was true.
Yeah.
You know, because that's how they fund a lot of stuff. So yeah, it was. Yeah.
What was over here? There was a lot of witnesses as well that actually had come forward. A lot of them ended up dying as well. A lot of them ended up.
Yeah, I've heard the story that's surrounding about the witnesses dying.
Because a lot of them gave multiple gunmen. A lot of them were saying that there was different gunmen. They were given descriptions of mafia hitmen and stuff like that had been out there. Like fucking, and they'd seen him setting up with like fucking rifles and high-powered scopes and thought that he was like, he would have been working for the Secret Service, keeping an eye on, and didn't realize he was the actual shooter. You know what I mean? So there was, that spun me out in the head about Woody Harrelson's dad being involved in it at the start. I was like, I'd heard he was an assassin, but I only had heard that he'd had something to do with JFK, and I was like, oh Christ.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think you fucking Woody's dad was a freaking hitman for the mob.
I know, jeez. But yeah, no, I think the mafia had a big part of it there because I think they helped get. They had a lot of hand, I think, in getting JFK voted in certain areas. They helped sway the vote, I think, so they got him in. And then when he came in and then he put Bobby as Attorney General, and then they started going against organised crime, they sort of didn't really like that. And a lot of people ended up fucking dead over it, you know what I mean? So, but you've got to look at like, because I forgot what I was going to. Well, that's the first one I've done. Yeah, that's the first that came. So I forgot. Yeah, we're in 45 minutes in. Jeez, that's good. No, it's about 5. I've done well.
Hang on.
Yeah,
there you go.
There we go. Christ. What else did I have?
But yeah, no. Like I said, all in all, I do believe there was more. Obviously, there's more to the story than what we're being told. I do think the assassination was a planned hit, but I do think Oswald was the lone gunman. 2 bullets, that was it.
There was 4 bullets though.
Yeah, but only 2 of them hit him. I think it was just the 2 bullets that killed him, and that was
possibly what was the guy's name? Arlen, fucking, what was his name? Arlen Spector. Where the bullet supposedly did like a U-turn in the brain and sort of splintered out. That's why I just don't think it would have came from just.
I don't know about that.
No, guy Arlen Spector. I think he was actually involved in the Warren Commission as well. But then you've also got to think about, the guy that was involved, who was the guy who was running the CIA then, Dulles. There was brothers, John and Alan Dulles. Alan Dulles, he didn't like JFK because he'd got him, I think he got him fired or something like that, and then he didn't. And then he was heading up the Warren Commission. You know what I mean? So you've got people on there that wanted JFK out of the way to benefit themselves at whichever cost, and they were the ones that were on the Warren Commission, though. So it's like the 9/11 Commission. It's written by the people who orchestrated the thing.
I am putting in the chat right now. I put it in the side chat and see if you guys can get this one. I'm gonna put it in the live chat too.
Warren was heading up the Warren Commission.
So this video is done by the Discovery Channel, and this shows using
but it's the Discovery Channel. You got I look at who owns the Discovery Channel.
Hang on. This was 2008 when Discovery Channel was actually about science before it started getting stupid, just like the History Channel.
I still think they've got
the History Channel. But what this shows is these guys did they made a dummy, life-size dummy. I mean, it's only 2.5 minutes long, but they used here it is.
This is a detailed replica of President John F. Kennedy's head. It's just one of the tools a new Discovery Channel show uses to take a deeper look at what really happened on the day he was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963. With state-of-the-art forensics technology, producers of JFK inside the Target car have recreated that tragic day, and hopefully are shedding some new light on the lingering questions surrounding the events in Dealey Plaza. Australian firm Adelaide T&E Systems makes anatomically and biomechanically... I
wouldn't trust them Australian ones.
Essentially really lifelike dummies to test consumer products and military weaponry. They're a far cry from the crash test dummies of old, and there's no one else building them. Technology like this wasn't around in 1964, when the Warren Commission conducted an investigation of Kennedy's murder. Questions remained and conspiracy theories were born. Was Lee Harvey Oswald really the lone gunman, or were there more shooters in Dallas that day? With the help of this dummy, the show finally tries to answer these questions. The design platform includes all the...
Yeah, that was just because we don't want to make sure Chris doesn't get copyright struck because of...
Oh, yeah, with the
music. You got to pause it for a second there. But no, it's this at the very end of it is what I wanted to show you. So go ahead and keep playing it now, Chris.
Okay. So I mean, they're basically just trying to set up what the impact's going to look like.
From pigskins was used to model the brain. The skull was made of a vinyl resin base filled with fibers and minerals like calcium to achieve physical properties similar to that of human bone. And for both the dura that surrounds the brain and the external soft tissue, the company used a material with a polyurethane base to achieve soft, human-like flesh. The whole thing was modeled on Kennedy's proportions, using his hat size as a reference. It's molded and fitted on an artificial spine, and it's built to react the same way a human head would if shot. And shoot at it they did, from 2 angles: Oswald's perch on the 6th floor of the Texas Schoolbook Depository, and what's considered to be the likeliest location of a second shooter, the grassy knoll. They recreated the limo Kennedy rode in and the site of the assassination on a California shooting range. All of this led them to conclude that there was only one shooter, just as the Warren Commission determined in 1964. For Discovery News, I'm Jorge Ribas.
Now, what I wanted
His
to
head
show...
moves more than that, though.
Huh?
His head seemed to move. The neck didn't seem to move much on that one.
It's not about the neck movement. It's about the explosion of the skull. If what they're showing there is that shot that they showed you, that shot there was taken from the same height and distance from the depository, and that's what it would look like. If it would have been from the grassy knoll, it would have entered the side of his head and would have blew out the left side, not the right side.
But that's going off the idea that that's where the shot came from, though. If you've got a shot coming from the front and you've got a shot coming from the back and you've got a shot coming from sides, then I would be more under the idea that it would have been a side shot that got him more than one that grazed by his ear.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. The problem with being shot on the right side was where the grassy knoll was. If he'd have been shot in the right side of the head, the left side of the head, because the kinetic energy would have blown out his left side of his head, not coming in from just off to the right, coming from the back and tumbling out this way. And that's what they were showing. That shot could have only came from the depository building, because otherwise the bullet track, like I said, coming in anyway from this side of his head would have blew out this side of his head, and it didn't. It came out this way.
Depends what sort of bullet they were. It depends what, you don't know what sort of bullet they might have used. They might have used a different one because they didn't want to, if they were going to take that side shot, they didn't want to they just wanted to get a clean shot on him. So I don't think fucking hell, I've done it again.
Yeah, but if you look at the trajectory and the kinetic energy of a bullet, doesn't matter the size of it, it will come out bigger on the opposite side than where it entered into. So if it came from the right side, it would have came out the left side in a big massive hole. I mean, even if it's a 22, you're still looking at a hole that big coming out the opposite side. Compared to the bullet itself, you're gonna.
What about the first shot? Do you think? What about the idea that the bullet actually came from the front and shot him in the throat? Went through the windscreen. There was a hole in the windscreen and shot him in the front. That's why he was holding his neck. Went right through his throat.
Well, the trajectory. See, that's the other thing with. I wish they could have played that other video, because
it wouldn't have been able to go through his throat, hit Connolly, and go out of the windscreen unless it like fucking bounced about.
It did.
Which I think what she said it did.
I said I really wish you guys could have watched that first video, because that actually shows the trajectory of the bullet where it passes through the president, through his from the back, through the front, through Connolly, through his hand, and into his leg.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen the line. It's like I've seen the line from where the impact, but it's I don't think that was it could have happened, but I don't think it would have hit Connolly in so many places.
From what I remember,
one bullet.
I'm trying to remember.
Or a fragment of a bullet, should I say? Sorry.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was a fragment of the bullet that hit the windscreen, because they did say the bullet did break it did break out. It did break apart
through the windscreen. Though it went like straight through the windscreen. So it would have still had to be together enough and having enough speed and trajectory to still go through that windscreen with enough force to actually penetrate instead of just cracking it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Give me just a second. If I remember right, because where it went through the neck is a fleshy. There's not a lot there to stop the velocity of the bullet. So when it came down and hit the rib of Connolly, when it hit underneath his armpit and come out into his right rib cage, that's what actually shattered the bullet. So it still got that kinetic force coming through, and that's what would have shattered and sent that piece through the windscreen.
Okay.
Because they said yes, it did break apart.
Yeah.
But the mass of the bullet itself is what tore through his hand and into his leg. The main mass part.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to the if it explained what exactly what if they said what kind of weapon was used or what kind of bullet was used, or if that was the one that they just gave, that was the description of, because it would have conflicted with their when they were coming up with the Warren Commission. They had to make sure that it fit to their agenda, so they had to add things into it, I reckon, that would have made it seem more plausible that what happened, which by it didn't happen that way. But so I mean, what do you think the purpose of them killing him was then? Do you think there was a main reason for him wanting to be taken out?
I don't know, because there's too many. I mean, you think Vietnam Mafia, the cartels. I mean, it's so. It's just too
endless.
Yeah,
it's too much.
But like I said, I do believe he was assassinated on purpose. I think there was more than just some nut job in a building. I think Patsy, yes, I think he was used to it, but I think there was more to the reasons why.
Yeah. Like even him getting shot by Jack Ruby, or what was it? Jacob,
yeah, that's the whole thing.
Rubenstein or something like that. You know,
I was pretty sure. I think Ruby was more of a you need to shut this guy up before he starts talking kind of thing.
Oh, what was that? Sorry, I thought you were reading something. What was that? Say that again,
no,
sorry.
I said I think Jack Ruby was hey, you need to shut this guy up before he says something.
Yeah, I know that was like yeah, he was and then he was killed as well, wasn't he? He ended up dying as well. Ruby.
I was just gonna look that up because I believe so.
Because I don't think they knew what happened to Jack Ruby, Lee Harvey Oswald, John Liggett, that was the name of the guy that did that facial reconstruction, and JFK's bodies. I don't think anybody really knows exactly where those 4 bodies are. So, because that Liggett ended up dying not long afterwards as well. So just so many people kept dying. And
Ruby died in 1967.
Aye, so not long afterwards.
Yeah, he died. He died 4 years later.
What did he die of again?
Pulmonary embolism from lung cancer.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's that's how Monroe was killed. Actually, she had an embolism actually. But she was supposedly injected into the pubic area by some mafia doctor.
Yeah, well, wasn't a mafia doctor, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he was a proper doctor, but he was also a mafia doctor as well. He did work for them.
Yeah,
I can't remember what his name was.
I just listened to something not too long about the whole Marilyn Monroe thing.
Yeah.
She didn't die by herself. There was definitely a.
Do you think she was?
I think she was silenced, is what it was.
Oh yes, yeah. I think she knew too much because she was supposedly sleeping with both fucking Jack and Bobby. Did you hear that one?
Well, she started. If I remember,
it was a threesome actually.
If I remember right, she dated Bobby to start, and then they were done, but she still kept coming around with John. So yeah.
Right. But maybe they obviously told her a bit too much secrets, you know what I mean? So, and she was maybe going to spill the beans, and they didn't want to, but they had to take her out. Poor old Norma Jean.
All right. Well, that's been a good conversation. We're just about to clock up the hour too. So I feel like there could have been a lot more with that. So we might have to come back and revisit it. One conspiracy we do need to look into, it's and Nerdy Rodent has information about what happened to the real Jay. So Nerdy, if you can send that through, and that could be a conspiracy for a future week. But yes.
It's kind of weird. No, but shrink it back again. Like click on somebody. Yeah. Look at the difference.
Hey, could be a different person. Could be.
It's like before quarantine and after quarantine.
Yeah.
I'm free.
So next week's conspiracy is going to be a fun one because we're looking at Out of the Shadows, which has got about 15 million views on YouTube at the moment, and it's about conspiracy surrounding Satanism and Hollywood. So I've sent the link to both to Jay and to Bobby Mack. Not surprisingly, Bobby's familiar with it. So
and
Jay's
the
going to watch
UK one
it
as well. There's a UK one out called The UK's Hidden Shadows on Sean Atwood as well. He's really good. He looks at the UK side of it and ties it all the Jimmy Savile. It's horrible. It's disturbing.
No giving it away.
No, I know. I'm not giving anything away. I'm just saying it's not for the faint-hearted anyway.
No, fair enough. So for everyone else, Friday Night Six Pack this week will be a little bit different. It's an all-girls affair. So we've got Jen from Jen's Little Corners hosting it.
Doing it for themselves.
Well, there's a copyright strike. We've got Mama Atheist, Marie Delafonte, Susan from Divine Disbelief, and Beth from Be Mindful. So, it should be a good panel. They're going to be talking about women in the community. So that's one I'll be sitting out. Myself, Jay, and Sam will be sitting out, but we'll certainly be watching. So, thank you everyone who's been watching. Any final thoughts, gents?
This Mo is not fake. This Mo is 100% real.
Try and pull it off.
That Mo is as real as the moon landing.
Bobby's like, God damn it.
Questionable. Still questionable. You know what I mean? I don't know how good his editing or CGI. He might have a green screen. Maybe the beard is actually still there. I don't know. Question everything. That's what I say. Question everything. Even what I say.
Maybe Jay's not real.
But do your research. Look into information and make your own interpretation of everything.
Nerdy says I saw a beard on sale on Gumtree. It's the lead I'm following up on.
Did you see the Indian guy that had the beard of bees?
Yeah,
I think it was like 10,000 or some ridiculous amount, and they were his best friends or something like that. So yeah, strange. But what can you do?
There's odd people in the world, but that's okay. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for popping in, everyone.
Thanks in the chat, everybody.
I think there's a bit more. Maybe we can look into Jack Ruby another time and
Mr. Rubenstein.
Yeah, why not? But we'll have a look into it and see what's going on. Have a look at the Mafia connection. Anyway, thank you, everyone.
Mafia, good. That's quite fucking. That's a big one as well. But there's 5 main families, so
you can't give it all away.
After you go,
the episode.
Actually, the episode. No, Ed's not here. Actually, it's all right. I'll speak to you off the chat. It's all good.
No worries.
After this, okay.
Too easy. Everyone,
thanks everybody.
Good night, good evening, good morning, good whatever it is, wherever you are on this beautiful globe that we all occupy. And I said globe. I'll catch you all later. Thanks, everyone.
Be water, my friend.
Take care. Bye.